Hey guys, you alright? Another day, another adventure. Just I thought I was going to do a long road trip back to Buenos Aires or Rio de Janeiro, and I wanted to do a long video of a story of me and what happened in Mexico, because I've had lots of really strange adventures, really dangerous adventures. We've been near-death situations, either with gangs or criminals, by getting myself into trouble, trying not to drop my phone out the window with it. But yeah, I'm just in Cusco right now, about to do Machu Picchu. I need to get a train over there to another village, Machu Picchu, so I'm going to do that. So yeah, my foot's finally healed now, so I can finally start training again. But yeah, I started travelling 5 years ago, travelling the world, because I always had fantasies about my life being like a movie and everything, you know. That's one thing I wanted my life to be like before I die. I wanted to, you see things on the movies and everyone fantasizes about, oh, I want my life to be like that. I want to be on the run, I want to be against the odds, I want to jump out of planes and, and travel through the desert on camels and, jump off bridges with, shooting bad guys, while swinging from ropes. Ever since I played Uncharted 2, that really inspired me. I don't play video games that much, but I played this game called Uncharted 2, and it really inspired me to travel the world and have that kind of adventure after being stuck in a rainy, city of Manchester and London my whole life. I really wanted the adventure of being one with the elements, because I think that's real life. And since I've been in Rio de Janeiro, I finally felt like I could live in Rio de Janeiro. But anyway, I've had tons of adventures, tons of dangerous adventures where in Saudi Arabia I almost got beheaded because, if you go against the law, or if someone catches you, they can easily behead you, if they think you're an infidel or you're trying to bring your Western bad cultures to them or something. Because you're supposed to, well, I'll talk about that story another time. I swam in the wrong part of the sea because, anyway, I'll try and hurry up with this video because I haven't got much time before I go see Machu Picchu. But yeah, I was in Mexico, and this was like I started traveling, I went to Saudi Arabia, I worked in Saudi Arabia, went to Slovakia, then all around Europe, and then I got a job in Mexico, and I went to Mexico, and I'll tell you the story about how I had this gang while you're looking at this view of beautiful Cusco. It's kind of dirty in Cusco, but kind of sandy, but I heard it's really beautiful over there, so I'm going to go there tomorrow now. My foot's healed, I'm not broken anymore. But yeah, I got in trouble with this gang. They were outside my house and they were shooting shotguns at me, and I heard shotguns go off and they were throwing bottles at me all night. It was in Playa del Carmen, but it was in the rough outskirts of Playa del Carmen. I have tons of adventures. I've written a book about it. If you click on the link, I've got a book about how all the adventures I had around, all the different near-death experiences I had that could, it could have been a movie or some kind of Lara Croft game or something. And that's the kind of adventure I've always wanted. I wanted to push myself. I hate the kind of touristy, sitting down, eating and not having an adventure, not pushing yourself. I wanted those near-death experiences to make my life, an adventure, dangerous kind of adventure. I think we all do, and now I'm getting tired, and now I'm actually fantasising about my own home, going back to my apartment, and eating endless food, and just with the memories of all the adventures I had. But I still got to do Machu Picchu. Now my foot's healed, I can finally, now I've had my rest, I can finally get up and do it. But yeah, anyway, Mexico, I was working at the school, and they gave me this little house, this little accommodation. I had this little house, and the house was like paper, like the walls were like this glass. That's what the walls were like. You could easily just smash through the walls really easily. It was in a really rundown, out the outskirts of Playa del Carmen, about 3 hours from the beach. But yeah, anyway, I was working out there quite a lot. I exercised every day, and I was training there every day, and I really wanted some sun, so I kept the door open so I can get some sun while I was training. And people saw me working out like half naked, and I think they thought, oh no, there's a white gringo, we don't like that, here. And I think for the gangs in the outskirts, there's lots of gangs, and they know everyone all the time. So anyway, I'll try and cut the story short and get to the point because I don't have much time. But anyway, I was teaching one night, and I was ready to go home after teaching there a few weeks and ready to go to the beach, and I was ready to go to see Chichen Itza. But the night before I did, there was a loud, there's a gang opposite the road. Like they had these big cars, these big 4x4s, and they were in the house opposite the road from me, and they were playing really loud music, and I assumed that they knew that. By then I got the feeling, just my instinct told me that they knew a gringo was here and working out, half naked, and they didn't like that, because because they were like running the neighbourhood. Because they were playing it unusually loud to try and get me to leave because they didn't want me in the neighbourhood. That's the feeling I got, and that's the my instinct. Never realised, that's the one real thing we have. So yeah, anyway, I had to teach the next day, so I got really annoyed. I asked them to keep it down. They didn't keep it down, so they kept it down for a bit, and then I went back to try to go back to sleep because I had to get up to work in 3 hours. So I ended up getting really mad and ended up shouting and screaming across the road. Then they were really quiet. Then I closed the door. And next thing you know, it was like around midnight or something. I heard like they were throwing bottles at the door. I heard smash, really, right near my window as well. So I went straight into the living room and I locked the door. The next thing you know, I heard cars drive away, for the friends or whatever, or people from the neighbourhood, because they didn't want anything to do with it. They knew they were the bad, kind of gangsters of the neighbourhood, the kind of run thing. They were like 3 overweight Mexican guys. They were just drinking all night. And next thing you know, I heard a loud bang, like huge, like if you've ever heard a shotgun sound, opposite the road from you, or anywhere near you. In the movies, it doesn't do it justice. You just get a bang in the movies, but in real life, if you have a shotgun go off near you, you feel the vibration through your whole body. You feel it like the house itself shook. This little house I was in, and I could tell that it was either a bomb or a shotgun or something. That went off. And next thing you know, it happened again, like lots, and the vibration just went through me, and my heart started beating. I hadn't eaten the whole day, and I was really on edge the whole time. So I remember they started to try and open up the door because I locked the door, and no one would do anything. This was a neighbourhood where no one wanted anything to do with it, so people just closed all the doors, locked all the doors. So I instantly just locked all my doors, went into the living room, and just went to a dark space where they couldn't find me or something. And this went on for like 3 hours, like bangs and throwing. They were throwing. They had the house the next day when I get out of the house. There was like bottles and everything, bullet holes everywhere. They were doing it for hours and hours on end, and I was just praying for that. I never prayed in my life, and I was just praying for the police to come, because if I opened up the door, they would have just blasted straight at me. Because they tried to open up the door, but I locked the door. And anyway, I remember one time I knew they were going to try and get through because the house was like you could easily just slam down the door, but they wanted me to come out. So I think they might have known that I might have had a gun inside, or I might have had some kind of weaponry inside, but I had nothing. So I grabbed some deodorant, and I grabbed whatever weapons I could find. I grabbed a butter knife. I didn't have a proper sharp knife in my house, so I just grabbed a butter knife, some deodorant and a lighter. So if they came, and I hid myself in the room, and I heard people on the roof trying to climb over, and the window was facing this. It wasn't like a backyard, but it was like a little square place where they had the gas canister, and I just thought, oh, they're going to come down there and they're going to try and get in the back door. And I was just hid in the corner of my room and in the dark, and I just thought, if they're going to come straight through, I'm just going to. I was preparing. I was there for like 2 whole hours, just with my deodorant facing forward and my lighter lit. So if they come straight through, I'd be like a miniature flamethrower straight in the face. So yeah, and then they tried to come through the back door, and then so when I heard they tried to get through the back door, I had to crawl underneath the window so they couldn't see me. My heart was literally pounding. Unless you've been through this kind of experience, the movies don't do it justice. Like your whole body just feels like glass. Every explosion, you feel your bones vibrating. You feel your heart, like your heart beating. You feel like I actually thought I was going to die. I never prayed to God before in my life, and I remember praying to God. I said, please don't let me die tonight. If you don't let me die tonight, I will never go on any crazy adventures again. I'll never do anything stupid. I will never try and seek out adventure or danger ever again. I'll stay at home and be a good boy and live in comfort and do everything all that my family and friends, all the bullshit that your family and friends tell you to do to live a boring life. I said that because I thought it was like karma or something telling me to not stop doing this. But it wasn't. That's what you have to come through, these kind of adventures, especially if you're cocky and you don't realise that other people's lifestyles and that other people's beliefs and other people think they're the best for being born in their country as well. you know, everyone thinks that, you know, and overly proud, you know, and not seeing the world. This was like my third adventure, you know, like my third year into traveling the world. My third year into traveling the world, and yeah. But yeah, and they were coming through the back door, and I had to crawl underneath the window so they couldn't see me, and I hid myself in the bathroom. They come in the back door, and next thing I know, I was crouched down in the bathroom, just with my knife, my deodorant, and my lighter, just waiting for them to come through the door. I couldn't ring the police or anything. I was dying for signal. I was crawling underneath the window, just holding my phone up, hoping for signal so I could ring the emergency services, but no signal came.